We have views of human nature. Irvin Yalom kind of gave some ideas of what comes with existence. He said that there's four givens of existence, and these are important to kind of think about. One, that with existence comes non-existence, the idea of death, that is inevitable. I think we can probably all agree upon that. Two, that with existence comes freedom and responsibility. You have choices. You can do things, but you need to be taking responsibility for those choices. You can't just say something or do something and expect there not to be consequences for what you said or did. He referred to something as existential isolation, that because we have our own existence and because we've created our own meaning for life, we're kind of isolating ourselves. We're removing ourselves from everybody else. In a sense, we're alone. But this is a part of existentialism. This is a part of existence. So another thing that we have to deal with when it comes to existence is meaninglessness. That perhaps the world is based upon a meaning that might not be true for us. It's without meaning, and yet we're expected to live in it, and we're expected to take part in this meaningless life all day. So it's kind of what we might experience emotionally dealing with something that we deem meaninglessness. When it comes to existential teaching and therapy, there's no set of techniques to understand what it means to be human, to kind of talk about these ideas. For part of existential tradition is seeking a balance and recognizing the limits of life and still seeing all the opportunity. So we have to recognize that there's certain things that we can't do or we might not be able to do. Maybe perhaps an existential dilemma. You can't go to Brazil and go to China at the same time, right? We have choices. But at the same time, we have to recognize that, wow, that's quite a choice. This is an opportunity. You are alive. Everyone watching this message right now is alive. And we only have a limited amount of time that we're going to be alive. And we are responsible for what we do with our time. Right now, you don't need to be watching this video. You could be buying a plane ticket and going towards Brazil. But you're taking responsibility for your action. Obviously, for some reason, getting this graduate degree is important to you. And you are responsible for that, for better or worse. And that's kind of the idea that we're constantly reflecting upon when we're talking about existential thought. We focus on being in a world alone and how we face the anxiety and isolation of that world. Sometimes the world's scary. When you have such a unique mind state that is solely yours, you feel that other people can't identify with you. You feel like you are alone. And we talk about what that feels like, and we talk about the anxiety or the dread that comes with that. And we try to use that as a motivational force instead of something that can cripple us or something that can paralyze us. And again, this comes through an understanding of what that anxiety is and where it comes from. And hopefully we can see the opportunity within it. As human beings, we have a capacity for self-awareness. We are able to look at ourselves. We are able to analyze ourselves. We are aware of our death. We are aware of our loneliness. We are aware of some of the meaninglessness that goes on in our lives, some of the emptiness. And because we are aware, we're able to analyze, perhaps find a new mindset, and then use that to move forward with our lives and help correct some of the things that might be causing us some problems or some troubles. Again, we're going to go back to the idea of freedom and responsibility. We are free to choose. We are free not to choose, but we are responsible. We cannot act in bad faith and blame others for the things that happen in life. This is part of being condemned to be free. We are responsible. We have choices. You can't blame people. You can't make excuses. This is the way that life is. We also bring up a concept called existential guilt, where we might have anxiety from not choosing certain things. Oh, I wish I would have talked to that girl at that bar. That would be an example of existential guilt. I could have, but I didn't. I failed to act. And these kind of things happen every day with us as human beings, and it's something that we kind of need to analyze. And hopefully, if we understand that, we are free and that we're responsible for choices or not choices, that we will start acting in a way much like the Übermensch, much like how Friedrich Nietzsche described as an individual who just does what he wants without thinking or second guessing or worrying about this or that. Just going with the flow and doing what you want to do, taking advantage of that freedom that we have. I want to talk about the ideas for striving for identity and relationship to others. An anthropologist once told me, each of us is like all other people, each of us is like some other people, and each of us is like no other person. I'll repeat that again. Each of us is like all other people, some other people, and no other person. We're like all other people in the fact that we have a skeleton and some flesh over us, and we have a brain. We are all alike in that aspect. We are like some other people in the fact that we all speak English, or at least understand English. We all, I believe, everyone in this class is an American. We all have, I believe, 2 hands. Everyone in the class has 2 hands. But, we are not speaking Japanese right now. We are not living in China right now. Right? So in a sense, we are like some other people. And we are like no other person in the fact that you are a unique individual. You have your own dreams, your own motivators, things that you care about, your own life, your own experiences, your own emotions. And no one is like you. So we think about how we need to find an identity within this world. And what that means. How it means to be a part of the world and how it means to be alone. And, they talk about the struggle that it takes to exist as a unique identity. In order to be your own unique person, you're going to have to rebel. You're going to have to fight the system. You're going to have to fight traditional norms and things that you should be. These kind of, breaking out of the mold kind of thing does require courage. And people along the way are going to try to beat you back into submission to be a part of the sheep, the flock of sheep. We talk about the search for meaning and purpose, the struggle for the significance and purpose. The questions such as, why am I here? What do I want from life? Where is the source of meaning in my life? It's interesting because many times people will discard old values in their life, but not always take up new ones. So all of a sudden, like I may have been raised a Roman Catholic, and in my older age, I'll kind of throw off some of those things, but I won't necessarily bring something back in to give meaning to my life. And that meaninglessness, can kind of leave you lost. And a lot of people kind of say, well, is there any point at all if there's no meaning, And this is where people come up with concepts of suicide. And, kind of trying to understand that emptiness and that hollowness in a meaningless world. Something they refer to as an existential vacuum. So part of existential thinking is exploring meaning and how it can be unique to you as an individual, and how we can create meaning for ourselves. And I do mean create meaning for ourselves, because you're not just born with a meaning. We almost have to create one for ourselves. Logotherapy, invented by Frankl, can help people find meaning. So that's one method that people can find meaning. He was able to do it in the concentration camps. He was able to find meaning within suffering. I don't know if anyone ever saw the movie Life is Beautiful, but it was based in a concentration camp, and yet, this miserable environment, and yet this father was trying to make his son experience a wonderful life and have some sort of meaning within this ugly disaster. It was a way for them to kind of you find meaning in the smallest of things, and kind of use that to help your life.